Joining us now is EWTN News contributor Alberto Fernandez. Alberto, it's good to have you back on. So first, we've seen strikes on boats at sea, but this is the first confirmed strike on Venezuelan soil carried out by the U.S. Is this a new phase in the conflict between the two countries?
Well, certainly it is, as you said, it's the first one that we've seen on land. Now, that was forecasted. The president mentioned that. And there's ample precedent in hitting drug processing or drug transport facilities. Certainly, large parts of Venezuela are controlled by drug cartels. There's no doubt about that. And there's an intimate relationship between the Maduro regime and the drug cartels. There's no doubt about that.
In an article published today in the National Catholic Register, you mentioned the Trump administration may be looking for a regime change in Venezuela. If that's the case, why now?
Well, one can say that the timing is everything. It was a year ago, it was in late 2024, that the regime in Venezuela stole an election when it lost and just brazened it out, refused to accept the results of losing the election. Maduro lost. He didn't lose by a little bit. He lost in a landslide, but he just brazened it out. So this isn't an illegitimate government. Now, of course, in 2024, the Trump administration wasn't in power. It only came in, basically late January of this year. So there's not much the U.S. could have done or this administration could have done until this year. So maybe it's seen as a kind of a pending issue. This is an illegitimate government. It's stolen election. It's deeply involved in the drug business. And on top of all of that, it's allied to every single one of America's adversaries.
In addition to all of this, you also discuss how some Catholic experts say involvement in Venezuela goes against the idea of a, quote, just war. However, you also write about the reality of Venezuelans and other Latin Americans who are, quote, enduring decades of misery and oppression at the hands of these unjust regimes, these criminal bands in power, condemned to a wretched existence with little hope, disarmed and distraught. Is the United States looking to solve this problem, and should they?
Well, I try to balance that in the piece because, first of all, I was born in Cuba, so I feel very strongly about this. Growing up in Miami as a Cuban American, yet at the same time, I feel that it's not America's role to solve all the problems of the world, to resolve all the crises and injustices in the world. No nation state can do that, and we certainly can. We certainly have plenty of problems. However, there are sometimes cases, and I've mentioned cases in the article. I mentioned 3 examples of previous administrations that removed regimes by force in the Americas. President Clinton did it, President Bush did it in Panama, and President Reagan did it. And these are all 3 regimes that had lost legitimacy, that had either cheated, stolen elections, or overthrown governments. And so a measured response to kind of restore and give people some hope makes sense. But I agree with you. We have to be very careful about kind of not becoming once again involved in the nation building business, which is interminable, and we can't afford it and we shouldn't do it.
Alberto Fernandez, we have to leave it there. Thanks so much.
Thank you.